Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the PPL. Paladins Premier League continues with our second set of the doubleheader today. We just saw, man, a breathtaking set from Virtus Pro and FNATIC. And in my opinion, and I said it on Twitter, and I've made the big leagues because Sheepa has liked my tweet after zero activity, which feels like years.
Pretty much.
That'd be like
he's the guy you get those notifications from.
Yeah.
Sheepa hasn't tweeted in a while.
Yeah.
See what he had to say.
It'd be like if you told me you had like an hour-long conversation with Perdot, I'd be like, how did you get to be a celebrity? How did this happen? How did you get so far ahead? And I think for us, though, just to continue the thought, it was so great to watch. It was such a great thing. And if they continue that level, Europe has just changed dramatically. NIP are threats. Virtus Pro are threats. The only team we're really looking at now is Mousesports, and how can they perform following that up against FNATIC, who's already warm, you would say.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, if anything, it looks like VP may have been studying Na'Vi a little bit, taking a couple of ideas here and there. I mean, they get the Stone Keep, they get their Inara, and they look pretty damn good. They take FNATIC almost all the way home. It's a 23-minute PPL game. That has not happened very often.
And that's how you want to lose. You want to lose by little things. You didn't make any mistakes throughout that. You say a couple of duels go Ninu's way, you win the game easy. You say maybe a couple decisions veer off from Fasheko, he makes the wrong ones, you win. I mean, it was still FNATIC playing well. But, man, Virtus Pro put them to the test, and FNATIC eventually did pass, but it is not looking like last season where they were just untouchable. Androxus and Makoa taken away here from Mouse. It's Khan and Leon for FNATIC.
Andro is one thing that, I mean, Tenor got 3 games in a row and just absolutely went ham with it. And it was
true.
kind of a little bit weird to see it not get banned out. So that's gone this time around. But Drogos, talked about it on the desk. It's going to be a pretty big factor, I think, between Doodle and Fasheko. Fishy didn't play a lot of Drogos in that last set. It was a little bit more Willow because Drogos was more of a banned than anything.
It's interesting, too. The things I noticed that were similar to the times Virtus Pro won and then also pressured out FNATIC the most were with the solo Barrack on the side of FNATIC and the triple DPS attempts. It felt like that was the most we either win or we big-time lose type drafts that FNATIC could pick, whereas it used to be their strength. You know, maybe it's the Luminary Genos not augmenting it. Maybe it's the fact that Barrack just ain't what he used to be with the meta of some of the other rising DPSs. Maybe some people are having the off day, but Inara, Willow, and Furia on the same team, that is threatening.
So remember what we talked about on the desk, like Mouse working on... No, I blacked out.
No, I have no idea. Yeah.
So Mouse focusing on what their draft is designed to succeed. There's a Leon banned out, Willow's on their team, they have Solar Blessing and Inara, right?
Yep.
They are going to be so hard to move off of this objective.
Super anti-heal.
This is almost the exact same comp that FNATIC ran on Jack Falls. So Mouse, I think, focus on what makes that comp strong. But then the reason I think FNATIC may have let them have it is because it's Ascension Peak, right? I think anyone can be that strong point frontline contester guy because there's so much inbuilt cover on that point.
Right.
We'll have to see if that strength ends up being strong enough to do anything against this FNATIC lineup.
And the Kinessa here is another big issue. I'm not sure they expected this to be brought out. And we asked about Alex and what he can do. So far, his champion pool has been rather limited, but he has been...
But
he's been extremely committed to that pool. And so, in many ways, what I had said was Mousesports need to make sure he's on something comfortable. We thought it wasn't the Kinessas or the Tyras. It seems to be the Kinessas and the Tyras. And maybe Mousesports just needed to get comfortable to him playing those champions more consistently in their roster. They need to get these 4 mixed with Alex versus the other way around.
Well, we saw the... True Power Time and Space combo coming out on Jaguar Falls, and I really think
going on?
That is going to be sitting on Alex this whole game. I think he is going to be the sole recipient of it. Because when Bugsy and Gara tried it against, albeit Furia and Willow, they both just popped their ults. Kinessa can't really do that, right? She's not going to be able to pop Headhunter for CC immunity. She can still be CC'd, locked down by that combination, and I really think Alex could end up having very difficult couple of moments here. Bugsy already giving the poor kid hell. Welcome to the league, son. Bugsy finds first blood, and Fishy finds the other 3, maybe 4.
I mean, Talus just walked up to Kinessa.
4.
That is not what you want to see. Fasheko with a quadra kill, essentially. And then a Talus just, you know, what's your strategy here to deal with this sniper? Just walk straight to her. Wow.
Walk it down mid, bruh.
Only Bugsy thinks.
The big W. Salvo comes out. Actually manages to get all the way through the barricade to disengage as well. disrespect on the NDBs. He manages to make it back to the point. 87-6, though, is a lead I think FNATIC are comfortable with.
A couple of shots from Sephic Cloud. Solar Blessing will heal him up, and they'll back off. Mousesports do have the sustain in the Inara. They have the Bear controlling the high ground, and now FNATIC have ceded quite a bit, which lets you know how much of a, I think, a threat it is when Thiel goes down. Thiel and the rest of their strategy is seemingly always give Fasheko, give Bittner enough time to just get triple kills and quadra kills. But what happens? Thiel goes down too early. We'll have to wait and see, though. Fasheko trying to start it off himself, getting a little bit of damage on the way, looking for the Willow, and he finds it, but he's going to get out with nothing. No health, back to base. Sephic Cloud cleans him up, and now Bugsy and Bittner doing the work on the point.
Tenor heads to the back line. I'm liking that Tenor is back on Cassie as well. He looked incredible on that champion, on this map in particular.
That's right.
FNATIC bring it back. Close, but no cigar for
Closer.
Mousesports.
Yes, you know, not quite where they want to be. You mentioned the Cassie, and I think that's an interesting thing to look out. We saw a card in Bittner's loadout that we don't usually see. It's Raze. It's the 8% extra knockback, and this time he's got it to level 2, so actually running a slightly different loadout here than he was in the matchup earlier that you just saw against Virtus Pro. And this is just a little bit of extra pressure considering there's so many ledges on this map.
Yeah, we were talking about how it looks like people are really starting, and FNATIC in particular, starting to figure out where are the assets on Ascension Peak? Where are the little cheeky things we can do just a little bit better than the enemy team, right? Obviously, you can hit your shots, Ked.
Hit your shots,
on the objective. You play your line of sights appropriately, but where are those little moments? And Elvenpath was the recipient of a couple. I think he got knocked off the map once, maybe twice even.
Right.
And look at this, Tenor just walking it up the left side flank here. Solar Blessings keeping Doodle up for the time being. But I like the pressure.
And that's where Elvenpath succeeded so much more than Sephic Cloud. I mean, holding that right side for Ash was so much more difficult, I think, for Bittner to pull up into versus the Barrack, who just, after a couple of shots from Burst, just doesn't have the health pool. 3,400 compared to 5,200. We're talking about nearly a 2,000 health difference. And if you run heavy metal at a high enough level, it's going to be even more. I mean, that's 2-3 more shots. That's a long time that Ash has that Barrack doesn't in order to win that duel.
Pretty crazy. She's one of the honestly higher HP frontliners in the business. Everyone else has been brought down, and Nara's got her damage reduction. Everyone else has this, that, or the other. Ash just has the raw brutality.
Raw brutality. I thought you were going to go into the American voice right there. It is not the most effective frontline health because you'd have to give that to Inara because of the damage reduction innately in the kit. But as far as actual health, Ash is the highest. And it's weird to think that because she doesn't feel like the tankiest. Again, that's because Inara kind of holds that tankiest number. But look at this. Talk about walking a tightrope here. Sheko seems fine. Hits that rocket, hits this rocket, hits that fire spit. Is anyone shooting at him? He doesn't care. He's still doing his own thing. FNATIC 2-0.
Does Leviathan Makoa count, though? Technically, it's not base HP, right?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely talking base HP, yeah.
Blasted on home, and Ash, a couple of times Steel's been able to play. Played it on Jag. Look a little bit effective here now, bringing it out. And that's where I want to see NTBs go if they have to move away from the Sonara, man. I mean, he used to play this almost more than anyone else. This was a champion that kind of defined him, especially in his earlier stages of his career. So I think this is an easy enough one to just hop back on the bike for. He doesn't really have to relearn it.
A lot of people have been yelling at him for playing Terminus. I mean, you included. So he sees a rock and he's like, oh, God, I can't. It's like eating bad fish the night before. Someone asks you to do a sushi the next day. You're like, no.
Yeah,
Ew, I'm
I ain't about that.
Yeah. Something. Let's eat it leafy green. I'll have a leafy green instead. Luminary not applied to Thiel yet. That's going to be prioritized to the damage healers now because the point's fighting. They want that extra burst. Thiel also tanky enough to last a few seconds. And he's got to assert dominance. Bittner and Bugsy already take down 2, and Alex is 1. Hownick, I think it was the through time and space. And the collapse of the...
I don't think that hit. I saw
the true power.
I saw the combo happening. But that, now, honestly, from that distance, if you're not super on point, the knockback, and if you're not early enough, the knockback from True Power will most of the time push them out of the beam. Bugsy ends up getting the kill. What I said about was, how did Tenor, and I assume Fasheko helping a little bit, how did they get that kill on a Bolka? There's three people from Mousesports there, and they managed to just cherry pick this little support out of the bunch.
Well, I think Mousesports are what they're doing, and what I like that Virtus Pro did to play comparison for our viewers is that Virtus Pro seemed to have a plan. They seemed to go at it intensely. They seemed to almost catch FNATIC off guard with how aggressive they were being. And Mousesports do seem to be reactionary in many ways. They let FNATIC push. They go as 5. They were so aggressive, and then they all back off. And Mousesports don't do anything about it. They hold the point. They don't zone away. So here's what I'd like to see. What do you do? Bugsy's just committed there. They back off. Alex is, look, he's scared, man.
And the support is forced to come back and help him. Now NTBs dies on the objective.
Exactly.
I mean,
it's all reactionary.
This Kinessa play, man, I don't know. It's costing a lot to do what with? I mean, nothing has come out of the scope so far.
Yeah, that's the question, right? What are you getting from it? It's one thing if I see it pop off. Obviously, Mousesports still working through things. FNATIC had a close one. I don't think they want to make this set close at all. I think they want a 3-0. They'll be disappointed if they don't get a 3-0. And they've had a set to already get warm and improve on it, so I do expect this one to end relatively soon. Theo on the right side holding down. 2 minutes left on the push, but not sure they're going to need all of those.
Chunking away, brother. Not American, but the Americanin here for Ash. She just continuously finds the pressure, and the Luminary is going to help her get back to the old feel of slug shots. Some of those days, man.
Yeah.
Some serious times we have been through.
And running Fortress Breaker, too. I mean, the fact that he's not even got slug shot there. He could be such a threat right now to Alex, to the back line. They're giving that role to Bugsy. I mean, look how confident FNATIC's draft is in dealing with that sniper. You don't, on paper, look at anything and say, oh yeah, that gets Kinessa free. You say, there's some work to be done. FNATIC, very, very confident, and they're playing that way, swagger and all. Still a minute left. Payload has moved to about 90%. Not going anywhere right now.
I don't know what they're waiting for. They might be waiting for, like, Theo to charge his ultimate or something.
That's probably it.
They get a Faith Flight. Because they've just been sort of sitting at this gate waiting to siege through. I mean, Theo, like, hasn't even thrown down a shield. I'm talking, like, super low levels of commitment. And now the gas pedal is slammed home.
So this is what they
do.
And this is FNATIC. That's FNATIC in a nutshell. That is really an example of what FNATIC does.
They lull you in.
You lull you in, or they give you a false sense of security, a false sense of confidence, and all of a sudden, they dive in as 5, and no one knows what to deal with. We've heard players recount that and say, FNATIC are so good, man. You just don't know, and all of a sudden they're all there, you're all dead, and you don't know what happened. Maybe that's why it's hard to play against them, because you don't know what to fix, because it all just happened at once.
Gotta go back to the
hey, man, you shouldn't have died right there. It's like, but you died too. It's like, well, then he shouldn't have died. But we all died. What do we do? I don't know. Maybe don't all die. Maybe
easy.
Easy.
You just hit your shots.
You hit your shots, guy. They just didn't hit their shots, kid. No, the real truth, if you take a look at some of these stats here, is that I think that Virtus Pro approached it the right way against FNATIC. FNATIC are the kind of top dogs, and they're going to act that way, and they're going to bark, and they're going to yell, they're going to raise up on their hind legs and just assert this position. And if you just react, you're probably just going to be pushed back. If you have an answer, though, if you go ahead and have a conversation that you're starting, I think that's where FNATIC start to look the weakest, where they're having to react to you, and they can't go on their game plan. Then what do? I think that's where they start to lose some of their coordination.
And I mean, look at VP bringing out Frozen Guard as well, bringing out a Xin as well. A Xin, like, with nothing else to really complement it, and then going, like, what, 14-2, 14-3 with it. Ninu looked incredible.
He did.
And FNATIC maybe just learning their lesson. They banned that map out. They don't want to see it again. Jaguar Falls, this was very, very hard fought. This would be the mouse selection. And going forward, at this point, I'm just assuming anytime I see Ascension Peak, it's going to be FNATIC's pick.
And yeah, I mean, you got to take map pick into consideration. They did do well on their own map. And now you would assume Mouse has a plan here. The Anjoxus will be banned. We've seen Bittner absolutely dominate with that. And they'll have the first pick. Will it be the Willow that we've seen a lot in Europe? Frontline, pick of the litter.
I don't know, but I like the Inara bands, and I think I'd like to see FNATIC stick with that a little bit more. You could see the struggles they run into with that champion a little bit at times. There's a lot floating out there to deal with it on paper. You've got Leons, you've got Willows, and that's the relationship that I think they'll go for. But at the end of the day, I like that Mouse as well at the same time are banning out Andro because they know they need to lean on Doodle to win, and they know Andro is going to slay all of Doodle's champions.
Absolutely. Drogos, great pickup for him. Ash is taken now. FNATIC will most likely go to the barrack. You would assume that that will get picked up now in this slot. And so Mouse will have to respond with something to augment their damage. Will it be the Talus? We've seen FNATIC be willing to go to that many times again. And this is the Fernando. It's one of the Fernandos we haven't seen in Europe for most of these weeks. And an order of pizza.
Wait, what?
He goes, Saw! Zen just says, Zaw! No, I don't believe it. I'll believe it when I see it. Traction trying to troll us.
But it is Bugsy. Yes. Yes, brother.
What was that? What was that? That bled.
There it is.
Oh,
Adrian.
there. Okay.
He's going to pull it out, baby.
Okay. All right.
All
I see how it is. I see how it is. Well, guess what? The only reason I don't trust you guys is because you lie to us too often anyway. So there. How about that?
I've got trust issues.
I've got trust issues with production.
Okay.
But I've got issues that I haven't seen Koga earlier. Bugsy must feel...
Master of Arms or Adrenaline Junkie? What are your bets?
Oh, I bet Master of Arms.
Okay. I'm betting Adrenaline Junkie.
I hope it is. I've just, my Koga thing is no one's been really willing to take the edge. Let's go! Woo!
Yes.
All right, let's take a look at the loadout. Give me something to prove. Give me some trigger happy.
I don't care about anything else.
Yes, Bugsy. No trigger.
Right.
I love surprise. I love it. Yes. Yes. Bugsy, this is my man. This is what I think.
It's my guy.
This is what I think is really around the cards you want to have for your logo, for your Koga. Trigger happy is a great card, but I don't mind surprise.
Probably for Master of Arms,
and tenacious. It's it's great for Master of Arms. It's good with the Luminary Genos, but he doesn't have one. So right now it doesn't really matter. You're right. I think this is the best loadout for Koga in this situation.
Let's go.
Something to prove. You can go to 3 on that, but I love it.
Let's go, baby. Do it to him, Bugs.
So as Koga's firing here, he's going to be building his energy bar yet again.
Watch the purple. Watch the purple, folks. He's floating around, maintaining a high level of energy while being able to dash, while being able to use agility, while healing when he hits his dash, while restoring ammo at the same time. Like a ghost, in and out of the back line. He's got more dashes than Andro, more healing than Eevee, and more bullets than Talus.
And less health than all of them, because he just dies instantly. The great thing about Koga, though, is that he has this min-max cost, and at that point, they had already gotten all these kills. I mean, Bugsy was a consolation prize. They have controlled this point fight so well. And you just wonder, what happens if he gets Luminary? What happens if he gets constant healing? He does potentially need some babysitting. 1900 health is not a lot, my friend. Ooh.
Is she getting aggressive? You know what it is?
What? 2300? Is that right?
24, these little shields coming through. I saw 2550. And right when he gets that Fury shield, that it's going to get him up to 25. So he's pretty
tanky.
Bulky little fairy in the back line here.
Yeah.
And look, it just splintered right now, dude. Mouse, 2 people way in the back, 2 people way up front. NTV's still getting kills, though. All I want to see them do is succeed with what they've drafted. A very aggressive front line.
Right.
But Koga's got the element of surprise right now. Like, I don't know if they know what they're doing exactly against this character.
And that's why, I mean, it's such a thing that I would have expected teams across the pond to be bringing out just to surprise top teams. I mean, that's your one win condition that no one has really had an answer yet. Problem is, you just let FNATIC and Na'Vi get comfortable. Then they're like, okay, we're willing to bring this out. And then you're like, now you respond, and then you do it. But they're like, we've already played against it. We've played it. We know its strengths. We know its weaknesses. You kind of got to try to beat them to the punch. New champions are great opportunities for teams to, make some surprise wins and some surprise runs at teams that are already established. Going back to Bugsy here, he's going to get the dash. The healing of the Shadow Step is really one of the key parts of this, and as well as the surprise, the ammo. Using the agility there just gets some movement speed. He's going to be able to dash again. He doesn't have the ultimate yet, but it's a push successful already. Koga has just proven valuable just because of the distraction factor.
Man, oh man. And the difference here is people using agility, remembering that they have that ability. I never even remember that I have that in my arsenal. I am left-clicking and right-clicking when I play Koga.
Right.
I use this loadout, but I am literally using my mouse and nothing else on my keyboard besides W, A, S, and D.
Right. And again, the other card that I mentioned, we just take a look at it again. Something to prove, it's a choice. Obviously, Bugsy goes in for more health. I cannot blame him at that. He goes in for raw talent at a level 2. I slightly say that something to prove is just a little bit more valuable because think about it. You dash, you get your ammo back, you dash again. Maybe you're being offensive there. You have 1 bar left. If that duel goes your way, you don't need it. Who cares? But if it doesn't, you drop below 50, you get a second bar. So you dash again. The first dash doesn't really get you out, but that second bar is what gives you the space, not only the healing with Tenacious, but actually the space to really get around a corner and force somebody to commit to you again or just leave you alone.
And these sort of conditional trigger cards, they don't proc unless you need them, right? If
Right.
he was full energy and got dropped below 50, it would chill.
Yeah.
It would hang out there, and I think when you're using a lot of agility, there it is, coming out, slice him, dice him, cut him up. The Immortal's going to try and deter Bugsy away, but I think that's a win. He gets out an even bigger cooldown.
Absolutely, and look at this. I mean, this is free right here. You don't even have to reload. You will if you want to, but you can keep dashing, get your guns, as you're going to see here. Reloads just because it's a larger clip. He only gets 32 ammo back with surprise, and all of a sudden, FNATIC clear in the lead. Small maps like this, I think, are going to be just a heaven for Koga. Jaguar Falls is like his map, I think.
Enemy killing spree.
Maybe a spectator thing, but why? It looks like everything's only costing him 2/3 of 1 bar
Of energy. Might be a spectator. I wouldn't be surprised.
Thing.
Yeah, it's got to be.
When you're using so much agility, I wouldn't mind a higher level of something to prove either. That's another thing I wanted to talk about is he is almost always running around with agility maintained, and it's costly to do so.
Yeah. I mean, I've even considered...
But he is zooming.
He is zooming. And you can see, here's the thing. What's great, and then he just gets out. And that's where, below 50, he gets that second bar. So that first dash, he was stuck. He gets that second bar, he dashes out again. Now he's actually in his back line for his team. He can get the heal and get back in. And it's a 10-second cooldown. For something like this, as a flank, you're not going in and then out and then back in within 10 seconds. You're waiting at this amount of time, get your team, your feet settled. But overall, great to see Bugsy using Adrenaline Junkie. Nick, what do you like better after you've seen it? Master of Arms, Adrenaline?
I think Master of Arms can be hilarious at times, but Adrenaline Junkie is so fun to play.
It is.
It feels a little bit like Andra with like training wheels on, in my opinion, because you're immune while you're dashing around.
That's true.
I've always thought it was pretty fun.
CC immune, damage immune. You have to understand that means you're just avoiding everything.
Outplay, right? You feel good
so
about
much
like
outplay.
Dashing a fire spit or something like that.
Dragon Punch, Fire Spit, Seismic Crash, Pyre Strike, Zen Ultimate, anything.
Name
Literally,
an ability.
name an ability, it will dash through it. And Koga
good.
and FNATIC win that one real fast. Ladies and gentlemen, you haven't seen a lot of Koga this week, but hopefully that gives you some ideas. Might want to start putting it in your back pocket. If not, it seems like FNATIC have one they can at least bring out when they feel comfortable.
I just noticed the silencers like spin like little ice cream dispensers when you shoot as well, and that's really cool.
Another thing that I think is interesting about Koga...
That's my biggest takeaway.
That's your takeaway. Another thing that I think is really interesting about Koga, and great game around the board from FNATIC. I mean, Theo gets triple kills in that one. Fasheko continues to be comfortable and dominant on the Willow, and 9-0 for Theo. I mean, shout-outs. Doesn't even die at all. That's crazy for a Barrack. But, you know, Bugsy doesn't stand out in terms of damage. He doesn't stand out in terms of KDA.
I don't care.
But he's such a problem. No, but that's continued. I mean, Koga is not like a top damage champion. It's actually kind of hard for him to win top damage. If you have any other champion like a Cassio or a Drogos or a Will or something like that that can get it very easily. But it's the intangibles. He reminds me very much of a Zen, Eevee style backline. I'm annoying.
I've had to defend Eevee so many times. Guys, listen.
Guys, listen. Let me tell you.
I know she has 3 damage right now, and she's 0-19. But the distraction value, brother, I mean, it's insane.
I mean, you know, what are you going to do? Like, think of how much Andrew Doodle has to commit to deal with him. And it's Bugsy just biding his time. They think they have him dead to rights. He forces an Immortal. This is the one, right there, is the one moment you can actually shoot him. It's very predictable. And that is what Andrew Doodle did not capitalize on. He tried to. The rocket was just a half-second late.
Stay late, the dollar short.
That's right.
Dash the fireball. Dash the gourd.
I like it, man.
It's fun.
It's real fun.
The first time you get to see it be successful, too.
You know what I like, though? Is that everyone... Edgem was really good in NA, actually, this week. He was very, very successful with it. But I will say that I really like that everyone's got their own style.
Yeah.
He's the only champion, I think, that you legitimately, and not just because he's new, can have not only your 3 standard cards be different, but your 2 one-pointers be very different and be kind of indicative, I think, of a play style, right? Whether you're a health guy, whether you're a raw talent, you like some more agility speed. I think there are a lot of different options where you can throw Trigger Happy, level 1 or 2. I mean,
it's funny given their like intertwinedness. That's a great word.
That's a great word
that I invented here on the spot. Him and Zin, right? Zin has that feel a little bit too. Like Creatives runs a ton of health. You've got Bitey who runs a lot of like CDR and stuff. Guys that run short whirls, long whirls, fast billows, long billows, like a lot of different stuff. And he might fall in that same category of like you've got Guillotine sometimes, and you've got Yomi most of the time. Maybe you look at a Smolder here or there.
Like a Worm Jets we'd see with some
you're gonna
lazy
see,
back in the day when he played.
I don't know what we'll see most of the time for Koga, but the Claw Legendary, you might see a little bit of that come out every now and then. I don't know, maybe.
Maybe.
You don't want to champion that dead Legendary?
I would love it, but I think the Blood Reaper is the cooler. I think that, I mean, because, you know, high level, it's all about burst. It's hard, but I think you look at Torvald, you look at that combo, I think you can maybe pull a Blood Reaper off. I mean, 1,300 damage instantly and resets on your energy for Koga. Oof. It's good when it works. That's what I'll say. It's really good when it works.
I mean, Bugsy didn't even pull out the claws once.
You don't pull out the claws.
Not even for fun.
I mean, they may
that's what I felt. The first time I played him, I was like,
there's no
need. I'm like,
it's best build, you know.
It's so risky to try and pull these off. It's like massive energy dumps as well. You get really caught out really easily.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It is tough. And right now, Mouse, what are you going to do here? We've got the Talus, we've got the Ying. I don't mind a life exchange here, especially when you take the Leon with the Inara. I think it's smart drafting so far. What are they going to do? Really?
Now you're getting trolled.
Now I'm getting trolled here. Come on, I won't believe it until I see it. There you go. There you go. Go on.
That one
Go on, production. Keep on. I didn't
on.
fall for that. Next.
Not even for a little bit?
Next. Not even for a little bit. Well, I mean, I didn't think that Mouse had the audacity to pull off the Koga yet. But that's the problem. I think that's more of one of the conversation pieces, and maybe next week we'll get into it a little bit more. But when a champion, when a map, first dibs, you know? That's what I think it is. Like, whoever gets it first is going to make everyone else kind of play to their tune for a little bit. It's not easy, though. You got scrims. You're practicing what works. You're practicing what your matchup. I mean, not everybody has the, you know.
Tenor on Torvald? That's fun.
The Tenor Torvald.
I mean,
Hi, Vizier Torvald.
Who normally does that? I mean, it's been a long time. I mean, Thiel, they very rarely would run Torvald in their like 1 tank, 3 DPS comp. There was a small moment where Torvald was an off tank, and I can't remember if it was Bugsy or I feel like it was Thiel even back then that used to do it. And Bugsy would do the Inara or the Fernando or whatever it was.
You know, if in the PPL, FNATIC use a 5-man composition that has a solo tank Torvald, I'll next time I see him, I'll take him out to eat. I think that's one of the hardest things to pull off in Paladins. Solo tank Torvald against good players. But if there's a team that could do it, it's FNATIC. But not even them will do. Not even they will do the solo Torvald.
First blood.
Here.
An enemy has drawn first
Well,
blood.
they're going to grab themselves first blood, but they've got bigger issues.
Did they forget about the point?
They forgot about how to play Paladins for a second there.
I think all that Koga has just really gotten Bugsy excited about flanking, and I think Theo wanted to see what was going on.
That's funny. I wonder what their comms are, right? Because they're still up 2-0 in this set.
Yeah, what were they doing?
So they're probably like, oh, no, 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 no. Let's just try to make it back there in time. But I guess that's Mousesports playing to the strengths of their composition there.
Tanner, what were you doing, man? Torvald, the point tank.
Yeah, dude.
Practice this for your free meal.
Get good.
Get good. It's got to be Tanner who's the tank, too.
Oh, man. Up in the stakes. Okay, okay. Before you know it, they have to play Sky as well.
Okay, but if I do that, then it's got to be a nice dinner.
Okay. Yeah, you just throw McDonald's at their feet after they do it. Clean yourself up.
I wouldn't do that, but that sounds funny. That sounds worthwhile of a skit.
That's content.
That's content, guys. Mousesports here. I mean, they grabbed the first objective, but it was under everyone's nose. Even FNATIC's. And it was 99-0, and this Inara plaguing them a little bit. Mousesports getting a little bit of momentum. We saw Virtus Pro steal a little bit of a game under, I think, the guise of being a team that, oh, wasn't going to threaten FNATIC, but oh no, things turned out a little differently in set 1. Is this Mousesports kind of beginning set 2 differently?
Woo! The alley and the oop. Bugsy finding some beautiful burst damage. Alex on Talus as well. Starting to stretch that champion pool. Got to start
My
somewhere,
man.
I suppose.
Tyra, Kinessa, and Talus. It's what my man's playing.
Making it tough on himself.
Wow. I mean, yeah. I don't know.
Killing spree.
I don't know.
Enemy.
I mean, he was doing so much Cassie, I think, was like his thing in the Summerland. What happened to that? I don't know.
Remaining.
He's played a little bit of Cassie. He's played at least a game or two of Cassie, but it's,
9, 8.
I don't know. I can't imagine it's his team forcing Kinessa, right? It's got to be him that's making that call.
That is definitely
1.
one of those calls where you don't know. And this is a guy that I'd like to get a conversation with or talk with NTBs. Again, we kind of praised him heading into this, and so far he's got some of the only kills, so that's good to me. And we have seen market improvement, especially Mousesports versus Navi. It was a great look for Mousesports. To fall in and kind of have not that game at all against FNATIC here would be surprising. It's 1-1. This would definitely be the chance. Backs against the wall.
Point spawning in 15 seconds.
They got a big problem on their hands, though.
What? Bugsy?
Starts with a B and ends with a C.
5.
Bugsy's
4,
Cassie.
3, 2.
That ends with an E. But yeah.
I before E, except after C, Evan.
Random vocabulary rules. Shout it loudly. No, I like it. I like it. Alex here.
The
with
louder you say it, the more
more
correct you are.
All of these things are true, but now the other thing that's true is that,
Can I say a true thing?
can I say a true thing, is that Mousesports are not in the same position as they were. Tenor leading the charge on the tour vault. Bugsy still yet to die. Alex knows it. He takes the task on, and actually does a great job. Andrew Doodle and him collapse, and look at this. Oh, Tenor's isolated. This should be a kill. And they should...
Fishy, though.
Wow.
Answers back 81%. Bees on the warpath.
I like it.
Drops the wall and just spikes it down. Stuns 2. It's 1 kill. It's looking to be 2 kills.
Okay.
And roaring back into it. They got a long way to go, but Mousesports showing some life.
I'm so surprised that Fisheko got an actual kill. On Alex in that moment. Alex, I'm sure, was just as surprised as we were. 45%, still no comeback mechanic, so this is where the zone needs to happen. They have to find a pick here. Make it a 4v5. Bugsy's almost dead. So low. Deal is there, so what do they do? Bugsy and the rest of FNATIC trying to move in. He gets a bubble. There's the Inflame as well. A lot of damage here from Andrew. Oh, the ultimate! Enlightenment's not enough. He has to reload and the full heal. Oh, you hate to see it.
It's crushing. So close, dude.
You hate to see it.
bought so much time. Doodle almost dropped the hammer. And meanwhile, that Cert dominance was enough on the objective to give FNATIC their footing to find the final 16% that they needed. And the warpath begins again. They will go on the offense for the first time on Bright Marsh. See if they can find themselves a 3-1 lead.
That's why Exaction Cassie is so sick, and that's why Precision Leon is so sick. However, you got to go late game. You don't necessarily make that play then because you don't have COD 3. So, maybe you don't even get them that low because they get a little healing prior. Maybe got something going on. Oh, wow. I can't believe he even made through all that damage.
I'm coming to the back, brother.
I mean, he just did he did the shuffle with the feet, the ladders.
He did the Trey songs. Ooh, I'm about to dive in.
And, he definitely did. Went to the back line, got a kill. But that's the thing. I mean, trading out some of that means those moments you get caught where you could have made the highlight reel. All he needed was a couple more shots before they rounded that corner and got that solar blessing. But shout-outs to Jera for, being where you need him with a cooldown right when you need it.
15 streak for the support. The only one on a streak in the game currently. He's managing to stay out of trouble. Not a lot of pressure coming from Alex, and that's what the Talus ultimate does. You just free dive, and Fishy just barely stays alive there. The solar blessing bails him out. The Inflame's ready to go as well, but the Pyre Strikes, another couple seconds. Steel's going to need that pretty quickly. If he can get this nicely positioned on the payload, it's a lot of time for them to just work with so much healing. 6,000 HPS and a Hyper Beam to boot.
And that's great. I mean, that's a low value ultimate on Bright Marsh, so you finally get some value from it.
Sure.
I love it. 191, I mean, this is really the moment that changed it all right there. And then the inflame.
He's everywhere in this
Because they
fight.
knew that the commitment was made. And, I mean, wow.
Overtime.
It's hard to say a lot of fights get won
Oh,
by supports.
that
but
was
I
the
mean,
moment.
This was the fight. He gets 2 critical heals over, inflames over to the right side, so he makes sure everyone gets the buff. Comes right back over, drops another critical heal. Gara keeping it together for FNATIC.
Yeah.
4, 3,
And still getting
2,
beat by Bolka.
1.
Which shows you Life Exchange Ying and Ara. No joke.
Nothing to play with.
16 streak and getting to the back line has been the issue. 80% here for Alex. Andrew Doodle did the most work in that last time, and it's an inflame. Just doesn't want to get caught out. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, I don't think Pacheco was actually in range to receive that. I didn't see any of the wings. No one dead yet. Alex managed to route of travel just barely out of Enlightenment comes out again. It will not find home.
I mean, Andrew
They're
Doodle.
diving ruthlessly.
Yeah, this is what you do, though. I mean, I like it because now, I mean, what do you do from that? And look at this FNATIC. They're just going to get out
Not this round.
like a professional team. Just minimize their losses and do the smart thing. I mean, it's just so clean, so clinical. This is what more teams need to be able to do. And Thiel, with the Fortress Breaker, setting up, I think, a lot of support for his squad. Not every Ashe plays this. You see a lot of Slug Shot. You see that in Europe. You see that in North America. But at this point, you'll also see the Assert Dominance clearing out the room. And with the Solar Blessing, it's going to be hard to retake this.
I like it, though. Comeback mechanic, get a little bit going for Mousesports there. And they all just evacuate safely, but man, it's that left side fight, right side, depending on your perspective. Doodle and Sephi versus Bugsy and Bitter. They just cannot win that to save their lives.
Yeah, I mean,
That 2v2, I mean, every time it's 2v2, FNATIC have taken it.
well, Alex.
That 4v2.
But Alex somehow gets himself involved. And look at that.
How do you throw that?
I mean, Alex was there, man, and he's on a 6 streak, and that was the big difference. They kept having Pacheco rotate over and maybe spoil that party between the Doodle and Sephi. Going up against, obviously, the Bittner and Cassie, Bugsy. But it was Pacheco who maybe would get a shot here or there, and Alex is showing us why he's picked the Talus. If he can keep this up, it's not unfeasible to think they might be able to push and tie.
No, just got to find those repeats. I mean, if they can go down 2-0 in a fight and still win that 3v5 against FNATIC, I mean, I don't know what more you need as proof that Mousesports do have a chance here. They just have to string together those types of victories.
And in many ways where the Talus is odd, I like it because it is a bit of that different choice. It is a bit of that, we're changing it up just slightly. And again, he's been my pick to be the guy that is going to rise. You know, he's stock that I bought because I thought at the end of the day, he's always available and he's decent. And if you find a way to use him, you're gonna have a strategy you can go to consistently that just adds depth to your drafting ability. And on Brightmarsh specifically. So with 1 minute and 15 seconds left, Nick, Mousesports haven't made much head.
His team's got a lot of confidence in him, too, which is going to be really important, right? Because it's not easy to come out here and get smoked by the best teams in the world week after week. So as long as he's got bees and the boys cheering him on, I think there's definitely room to improve there. Sephi Cloud just gets melted as he comes around the corner.
Yeah.
Doodle does find Pacheco, though. 50 seconds on the clock. Mousesports got to get this push going like yesterday, though, if they want to make it here in time.
Yeah, and you know, they have that thing where they'll fight. I think Alex just felt he was trapped. Bees as well. Like, FNATIC are really good at pulling fully from fights. Like, that fight didn't until now. That's another 10 seconds that was wasted. And you saw, although FNATIC ended up losing that fight, it's not necessarily in this round about the fact that they pulled back after 45%. That was the good thing about it. They lost that duel over here on the left side. Alex got a couple of kills and stayed on that 6 streak. So, you know, really, if you can at least get it to another round, if I'm Mousesports, I actually don't feel too bad about having a little bit of the half comeback mechanic and some extra capture rate. Going into a chance for me to capture, then push to win.
8, 7,
Dodging that fire spit. Every ultimate available. No one really looks like they're ready to give this. Give this the go. It would be a hell of an effort. But honestly, that comeback from Mousesports in general was a hell of an effort. This round has been a hell of an effort from them. They lose one early. And I think you're right. Safe play here. Lean on the comeback mechanic and have all your ults for next round.
And I think everyone has all their, like, I would say, you know, end it now because everyone's charging their ult everywhere. But everyone's already got it. They had it at the start of overtime. So this is really just credit farm. And this is also just, this is mental. This is mental. We're not giving up. Mousesports is saying, yes, we know there's probably not a good chance we push this. We don't care. We're going to play smart. We're going to play in your face. But as you can tell, it was just a matter of time. You take an inch off at that point of overtime, and it will end rather quickly.
Very important support character nowadays, man. That Solar Blessing, people just getting better and better, catching those beams. Making effective use of their inflames as well.
What do you think they say in comms to make sure that
I would just say, I
beam
think
incoming?
yeah, pretty much, honestly. Like, you troll him, but I don't know. I would just say something like beam out, just so your
out
frontliner knows to look for it, I suppose. And, you know, you throw him in the general direction of people that need them at the end of the day. He's going to be on point with it, so you just have to make a small conscious effort to go catch it or stop it, right? And then it sits there for a while. So, like, once you have it there, you know, you can kind of, like, dip in and out of it, play with it a little bit, and find a way to make it as most useful as possible.
You just got to catch it, man. It's a pass. It's literally a pass. I love it. Oh, decent wall. They need to get Bugsy, though. He has not died in a long time. Oh, they used a lot for that.
That was hard committed, though.
Yeah, they used a lot for that, but they've got comeback mechanics, so what they need is this. Theo, meanwhile, hey, I'm just on the point, guys. Did you forget about me and the fact that you need objective? He's a little bit off it, but it's fine. The radius.
That has been he's done that every single time. He's like Venn diagram to the point with his ult.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, okay.
It's kind of funny. I don't know if it's noteworthy, but
it might be. Look at this DPS battle of time. I love it.
The unstoppable force meets the immovable object.
Dude, why did you not fireball right there? They were all on the line. Only a little min-max I would have given Cephicloud there. I know he wanted to get out and was worried about the Dragon Punch. But using the Immortal there means that Fasheko has a free line to it. And again, no punishment at all. And this is Mousesports right here. The issue, A, they didn't get the first objective capture, and they've got the Inara. And then NTBs is completely isolated because they staggered too much. And that's just FNATIC cleanly displaying their prowess despite having a very rough set against Virtus Pro, coming out on top. And then Mousesports here, it was a quick 3-0 in the second set of today's PPL.
A couple of good moments there for Mousesports, I think that they can say. But committing super hard for those types of small wins. They're wins at the end of the day, but you're just not going to have the gas in the tank, I think, to go the distance in a team fight with FNATIC.
Well, I mean, that's going to do it for today's show. We could take a look at some of these post-game stats, I'm sure, and kind of wrap up what it means in the European scene for the Paladins Premier League. Obviously, we have our schedules and standings coming up. FNATIC in their doubleheader today after plays like you just saw from Theo, Fasheko, Jera, Isbitner, and of course Bugsy, who has 157,000 damage and a 19-5 KDA. They have slain their competition, their challengers, and taken, again, 2 wins that belong to them now in the PPL. It will push them to 3-1, having lost to FNATIC, who are now Na'Vi, who are the only team in the European PPL to actually be lossless.
3-0, 3-1. FNATIC just playing an additional game there. Playing the most games, actually, in Europe total. 0-3. The battle for the bottom soon to come between Mousesports and VP. One of those teams has got to get a win over each other.
And man, you know, NIP pretty much smashed Virtus Pro, I think, over the course of that set. Game 2 and Game 3, or Game 3 and Game 4 were not close, but Virtus Pro started off really well, and you almost wonder what went wrong. Maybe something went wrong that day, because the way they showed up today was still very threatening. Against the top 2 teams out of the 3, they were very, very good.
So now you have to ask NIP. The next NIP versus FNATIC matchup could be insane.
Oh, and NIP as well. That's what I'm thinking. Oh, yeah, NIP.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said.
Yeah, but I meant NIP Virtus Pro. Did you mean NIP Virtus Pro?
No, I didn't.
Okay, I meant that.
Oh, gotcha.
But I'm saying Virtus Pro have been improving really well against FNATIC and against NIP, and I'm really excited to see them again on those rematches, and also, you know, against Na'Vi if they can, you know, continue to maybe topple some giants. Of course, guys, if you want to see a giant in real life, Nick, Pretty Hair Keo, and myself, come to HRX. You get highresexpo.com 16th through the 18th of November, and you guys can actually hang out with us, hang out with Gore and all the other casters for Paladins and Smite. There's an after party as well.
Hell yeah.
$50.
Rave Maeve's going to be there?
Rave Maeve will be there. She'll be like DJing or something.
Cutting
At least
shapes on the
that's
dance
what I
floor?
heard. She's really, really, you know, fun and talkative, so you may be able to hang out with her. HRX after party.eventbrite
She's one of those
John-
helmet DJs, though, you know?
She totally is.
So you can get the picture, but she's not going to have much of a conversation with you.
Exactly. She's got, marshmallow in
She
it. But-
communicates in emojis on her helmet.
And you know what? Sometimes that's enough. Guys, we're going to end it here, but we have a lot to talk about in our post-game show called Gather Around. Me, Nick, and Gore will be sitting down talking about our favorite plays, maybe the favorite misplays, and what we think today meant for the European PPL scene. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Gather Around in a few minutes.
I have a little story about the intro for that, and that is just when we're coming down the hall, we're doing the best friends dance.
Yes.
The first time we filmed that, I was a little too close to the wall, and there's a light switch right on the corner. I punched it and immediately fell over laughing. It did not damage the suit, but it was
Shut off
really
all the
funny.
lights in
The
the
entire
hallway.
lights, the
All
entire
the
camera, the
lights.
shot was ruined.
Shot was ruined.
But hey, I'm Gore Miser. That's Rain Day. That's pretty hair.
I'm Kyle.
This is Gather Round.
What?
You're Kyle?
Yeah.
That's close enough to Evan.
Well, let me.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
I thought you were countries in.
No, I'm not. That's my hit single.
Oh,
That's
sorry,
triple
right.
platinum. How?
Oh man, it's already gone triple plat.
Yeah.
That just hit
Normally
the
the
market
host
today.
does the research on the artist before they come on the
That's
show.
my
Okay.
bad.
What am I doing here? This is amateur hour. All right, fine. I'll go back to Jimmy Kimmel. He's having me. It's not a
Are
lie.
you gonna perform live?
No.
First Sheepa liking your tweets, and now Jimmy Kimmel.
Now Jimmy Kimmel. It's really been a great day. And I actually will start off, but you told a funny story. I'll tell a funny story as well. We didn't see them today, but I did have a dream about Bird from NIP. And the dream was that Bird told me, he just out of nowhere, we're hanging out, and he said, so I finally made over $100,000 this year.
Wow, feels good.
Now, I don't know where that came from. I didn't think about it. But then I started thinking of, prize pool at
Where
PWC.
exactly someone could pick up $100K?
Started seeing the prize pool, and I thought I
Where
was
might a
thinking,
boy who
if-
hasn't been to any lands this year suddenly become upon $100,000?
And
He
I just
robbed
thought,
Navi.
I thought it was interesting.
Props on me.
A life of crime. Okay,
At this
that
point,
took
you
a
just
turn.
get all of their land winnings from this year, and
Pawns all
assuming
their
they
rings.
win
Yeah.
worlds, then it's about $100K that you could pick up for yourself.
I siphon. Yeah, that'd be very funny. Okay. Anyways, I thought it was just an interesting thing. And, NIP aren't here, but maybe it's just the general theme of these teams that are in that position becoming so much more threatening, as we saw in the first matchup with
Yeah,
Virtus
a
Pro.
good theme for Europe is that static placement that we always had with
Shaking up.
FNATIC, Navi, NIP, and then VPR Mouse, who really cares, whichever one was at the bottom, has now been shaken up to the point where Virtus Pro, they get the first game at
Yeah.
least coming out of it. And it honestly looked like they could have gotten a second and potentially a third
Right.
game if FNATIC just hadn't been as fanatic as they were when they played those. They just were phenomenal in terms of being able to shut people down. Of course, Bittner did pick up a penta in this set as well.
Yeah.
And a quadra.
And a quadra.
And a triple.
And a triple.
mean, he
and
had
probably a double.
It was
Hey,
pretty
look.
nutty. This is he had a lot of moments where he was really just displacing people and min-maxing situations so well. I really liked Bittner on the Cassie. I thought it was a good pick.
And it's like look at him after that after this game on
And
Frozen
Andrew.
Guard. He got smoked on Ruckus. It was kind of reminding me of the Mutu performance, right? Because Mutu had 2 really bad games, and then all of a sudden just popped off when it mattered most on Androxus, and Tenor was able to do the same. Tenor's always been the Andro player for this squad, but
It's incredible today.
never like that.
Yeah.
It definitely felt kind of at home, I guess, with the
Yeah.
way things went for Fnatic as they went on in the set. The beginning, though, was a completely different story. It was all Virtus Pro, and even towards the end, it was still a little bit of Virtus Pro.
You never really think that it's going to go down to that, but man, I mean, what an exciting set. And I said this myself, and I just felt like hats off to Virtus Pro and the achievement that they made. We will give some criticism, but we will also give praise when I think it's warranted, and I think it is warranted today. Their play in general was a lot crisper, and they finally weren't afraid of Fnatic. I don't think they've been afraid, but I think they did stuff that maybe was draft-wise or weirdness, and Elvin Path mentioned that in his interview. It's kind of like a time pass that was well, you don't feel you can match up with them. But this time they just slightly picked a little differently. They banned well, they drafted well, they didn't lose in the draft, and then they just took it to them. They were aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, and when you have Sheep and Peridot now, I think that gives you a lot more confidence, right? Sheep and Peridot have been playing against those guys for so long at this point, and if anything, Tanner and Fish look like the rookies to them, sitting from up where they're sitting. And, that definitely helps with the confidence. And it's I can imagine a very difficult thing to have 4 brand new rookies on your team at once, bringing in like 1 or 2 at a time.
Right.
Feels like probably a little bit easier to sort of coach along and string along and give confidence to, give praise to. Kind of like how Mouse are doing with what it sounds like, Alex. Like, Bees gave him a ton of credit in his interview. He says this kid's phenomenal. It's just a matter of time.
It's the same thing. I mean, we've been talking about it a little bit off and on all day, where it's just some of these new players, like you said, we'll give the criticism because admittedly, when you first show up, that's kind of what you need to hear. You need to hear what are you doing wrong so you know what to improve on. And then when it finally improves, you can give those the numbers back that they're finally putting out. And some of the numbers I was looking at earlier was actually Saret's, what was it, 308,000?
308.
Somewhere around there in terms of his healing. And that is, I think, a huge boon to his ability to be able to just showcase what exactly? I mean, granted, he had an Inara, he was Furia, and he had a 23-minute game.
I know.
That's
I love
it.
It just made me think about people that come into like Twitch chat and they're like, I got this much healing in my game with Maldamba. Am I good? I'm like, how long was the game? I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like, that's not a benchmark.
In a 6-minute game? Yeah, that would be impressive. I mean, I give a lot of credit to Alex, and I think NTBs and the rest of the squad believe in him because they keep letting this Kinessa and this Tyra and this Talus and these weird picks be his only champions that he plays. But I don't know what world we are living in where someone just doesn't get the job done and we just pat him on the back. I mean, at the end of the day, unfortunately, you make a team because you're good enough to make it. No one is like congratulating you for that. Like once you're on the team, no one's like, dude, it's so great. Like you made our team, They're like, let's play, let's move. And I think what Alex is doing right now is like, he's having performances that are subpar. The coach is subbing him out and Soccer Reference at 70 minutes if he has a replacement saying, you didn't score, you didn't score, you didn't score. In a sport, there's only so long before changes are made. In a Paladins environment with youth and with maybe not a head coach that's like a 35-year-old, 40-year-old guy who's played soccer pro back in, Estonia or something like that and is telling you what to do. I don't know how much leeway he gets, but I need an explanation. I need a tweet. I need something. And I think that would help everyone stay on the same page for what they're thinking long-term with Alex and how he's going to either keep with these picks and Mousesports will work around him or kind of try to blend his picks into something that will work more for the European draft.
It's tough with this pool, like forcing the Kinessas on some of the maps that they forced Kinessa on.
Today,
No, he got smoked by Bugsy, and we talked about how then you got the support having to retreat out of the fight to try and bail him out, and for what, right? Then Bees dies on the objective. Why is that the basket that we're trying to put our eggs in at that point?
Yeah.
Well, I will say one good thing I think that came out of the FNATIC and Mouse set, outside of the fact that I guess Mouse got a couple points, which is something they can take away. Virtus Pro we were talking about before, what wins can you have for it? But outside of that, FNATIC being able to pull out the Koga, something that we have been anticipating all week.
Hey.
And they finally pull it out, and it looks real good when they do it.
I like that we saw the Adrenaline Junkie finally. I mean, to get it off the Master of Arms, at least give it a try. Bugsy was the one who kind of thought that was what was going to work, and I love it. I mean, Tenacious, you get your surprise, and then you're dashing around, building ammo, dashing around, building energy, dashing around, doing the same thing again.
And it's a lot of fun to watch, especially given how versatile the champion is. How there is no cooldowns. Your rotation is what you make it, basically, with this character, which is so cool. Any video game, I am a fan of the characters that don't have the mana, don't have just the standard resource. Those are always the most fun to me. And I think you see this go a couple of different ways this week in the PPL. We saw over in North America just the hard Genos Luminary Torvald field study.
Yep.
That might be what works with Master of Arms, right? But this is very Bugsy's by himself. Bugsy is sustaining himself. Bugsy is worried about Bugsy and nobody else really is.
Right.
So maybe this Adrenaline Junkie style that we saw Bugsy play today is what we see more of when the comp isn't really super focused on you, when you are not the belle of the ball, so to speak.
I'm really curious just because it does feel like he's a flank that is very, again, like personal to the player. And I think that's going to be the style. Like, it's not going to be this is how you play Koga, or this is how, it's going to be how does Mouse play Koga? How does FNATIC play Koga? And I think we're going to see that. And I specifically think for someone like G2, maybe for Envy,
hopefully,
when they start picking it up, I think that's when we're going to start seeing some ridiculous kind of strategies.
Oh yeah, I think Evil Eye and Rock have to be the guys who go for that. And I've seen Evil Eye play it in casuals. I played against him in it. He has something more of a Master Arm style, but I'm curious if this will change anybody's mind. We'll see it like tomorrow or on Friday. Or it is tomorrow. Friday is the same day. All right.
So you're not wrong.
Long week. So I'm not wrong. Tomorrow or Friday. Maybe we'll see it. But yeah, man, I mean, I'm really excited. I also had this really great thought when you were saying that. I feel like, so I've not been liking Barrick lately. I don't know about you guys. I just haven't really been liking Barrick very much in the prioritization. I don't know how you feel, Nick, but, but I feel like you know. So my thing is that sustain has become more of this issue, and we saw it like work against Virtus Pro and NIP, and it was like they take the Willow, then they try to counter out with the Inara Furia either on their team or somewhere else, right? And then the other team would be left with like a Barrick. Okay, and then sometimes you'd have the opportunity to take a Willow or Inara Furia, and you wouldn't take the one that gave you the sustain battle, and you'd be left with a Barrick, and you wouldn't work. I feel like Furia's Solar Blessing is just putting this onus on other front lines for other teams to be able to match a level of sustain that wasn't previously there. Like no other time in Paladins esports history have we had an unkillable tank or full health resets like that. So a Barrick against a normal Inara, maybe, but against a Solar Blessing Inara becomes even more. Even a Solar Blessing Ashe, anything like that.
Yeah.
I was just curious what your thoughts are, if maybe that's why I'm feeling like Barrick is even worse. You know, that first game they lost, Ruckus Barrick, right?
Right.
It was their front line.
We saw one time, and I can't remember the exact comp that FNATIC had. I think they had just Leon, and there was a time where Elven Path dips into it on Makoa, and his health is not going down, but it's not going up either. And I guess at the end of the day, that's what you hope for. You hope to get the big juicy heal, but if you can just stay alive, it's okay. There is a little bit of that counterplay there. Obviously, Will is the best on paper. Leon in practice is the most, I think, applicable anti-heal that you're going to get the most mileage out of. But I think it hurts Barrick, I think, probably about as much as it helps him, because you can have that Solar Blessing with Barrick. But it can make a bad problem even worse for him.
Yeah.
I think to say the least, I'm excited to see how North America is going to adapt, either Koga or with the problems kind of facing Furia in terms of being able to anti-heal. I think that's going to be a lot. But as far as today goes, I think Virtus Pro, as well as Mouse, can count themselves as getting wins. Virtus Pro, I think, a much bigger win. Even though they didn't get the full set, I would say that they were able to take away not only the game, but a lot of prideful remarks, I guess, about how they played. It was definitely a lot better. Whereas Mouse, I think there's still some room for improvement. But that's Thursday. That's all today. Tomorrow, I believe, is a G2 doubleheader, so we're going to be able to watch both of those teams.
Or Friday.
Yeah, tomorrow or Friday. I never really know which one's going to come first.
Know.
But either way, we'll
know
get
when
to
we
go see
wake
them.
up.
Do you guys have anything tomorrow that you're like anticipating, or anything from today that you want to have as like a final point?
Today, I think overall, great stuff from Virtus Pro. Really proud of them. I think Mousesports already had their really proud of you day on Tuesday, and that was great. Today was less of that.
Gold Star game.
Yeah, today was less of that, and everybody knows it, so nothing to repeat on that one. And thanks, Bugsy, for playing Koga. I hope FNATIC can finally be the team that brings it into the meta. You know what I mean?
I think the bar's set for G2, right? They're a team that likes to sort of like be the guys that did that thing, right? So I don't think they're going to be outdone. They've got some matchups that I think are looking pretty favorable for them tomorrow as well. So I hope that we get to see some more fun stuff out of them. And if they're going to do fun stuff like they did against Envy, I can only imagine what we're going to get tomorrow.
Well, that's the end of today. That's the end of Gather Round. Thanks everyone who has tuned in, but we'll catch you tomorrow for the PPL.
Finger guns.